The Carbon Cub, an awesome light sport aircraft.
Oh yeah. Are you serious? It can climb at that pitch angle? That's ridiculous. Just like that.
Pick which color you like. I like them all, you know? I just plan on doing that one day.
Airplane kit builders are a special breed.
That's my motivation there. And then I see these planes and I'm going, you know, float planes are pretty cool too. I may have to do that.
Shortly after getting his pilot license, Mike developed a medical condition.
All right, Mike, so what do we have here?
This is a CubCrafter Carbon Cub kit built plane.
At first he thought he'd never be able to fly again. But like many of us, aviation was in his blood. So after the medical tests were done, he assessed his options. He could do nothing and never fly as pilot in command again, or he could seek a special issuance medical, or he could wait and hope for changes in the FAA regulations. But he chose to switch over to flying light sport aircraft. It was my friend Paul from Delta Airlines that found Mike and knew I'd be interested in his story. We were in Atlanta to check out the Delta Flight Museum's full motion 737 sim.
Great job. So you can land a 737.
Oh man, that was intense.
It was a rainy weekend and our plans to fly a Carbon Cub were looking unlikely. It was cool to meet Mike and talk in his home shop about how he'd been using online resources to stay motivated and inspired. And he'd even been watching my videos to get ready for tailwheel flying.
Couple that with iPads and things like that to share information, blogs and all that. It's you're not out there by yourself.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Local Carbon Cub dealer Chip has been a great resource for Mike's project, and he was nice enough to fit in a demo flight with me.
So it's got toe brakes, eh?
It does have toe brakes.
Do people ever complain and wish they had heel brakes?
Nobody complains about getting rid of heel brakes, yeah.
So although it's based on a Super Cub, the Carbon Cub flies a lot differently. The old original 1956 model, in which I got my tailwheel endorsement, had both heel brakes and this ridiculous trim. So although this thing looks like a Super Cub, it's got 50 years worth of technological and performance advantages.
That is awesome.
Lower the nose a little bit, get rid of a notch of flap.
Chip did a great job showing me what this thing could do. So we'll jump between this flight and Mike's build project.
So it looks like it's a fair way into the process. This looks like an airplane to me. The kits are a box of parts. How far in are you right now?
It came in a giant crate. When you build the plane, it comes as 4 modules, if you'll call it that. Fuselage, wings, finish, and then engine. So I'm on the first step of fuselage here.
Man, I'm glad the weather left us alone this afternoon.
Yeah, it's interesting. You just got this little pocket of calm.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow's going to be just crap, eh?
Oh, it's going to be miserable, I think, all day.
Before you go off and jump into something like this, I think you need to know yourself. And are you the kind of person who finishes things? Because, you know, it's not inexpensive to do this. I realized a long time ago that I was a finisher, you know.
I'm somewhere in the middle on that. I start a lot of things. Got a lot of incomplete renovations in my house.
All right, we're going to put full flaps down. And we're just going to slow the airplane down.
So is that the angle attack indicator?
That's the angle of attack indicator. You see it right there?
Yeah.
It's saying, okay, you're getting on the edge there. Hey, there's.
So what am I looking at? The white.
You're looking at the little
chevrons.
chevrons right there. Yeah.
So now it's in the red.
Now it's in the red. Now it's saying you're getting on the borderline of where you may ought to think about, is this the way you really want to fly?
And I assume it's feeling really mushy.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, that's cool. You got authority in the ailerons.
I've got absolutely full control authority of the airplane at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we keep the nose coming up. There's 29 miles an hour.
And that's with full flaps?
That's full flaps, yeah. I've still got.
You got ailerons.
I've got lots of control authority of the airplane. There's 27 miles an hour.
And what's your power at?
1400.
And you're holding your altitude. Yeah,
there it goes.
There it goes. Got it. Yeah. But it's very gentle. It just broke. You felt the one wing drop.
That's all it did.
A little bit of rudder input. Bam. Very cool. Yeah, that's a stable airplane.
The way it works, I have a manual, and I've learned to just worry about or only look at the page that I'm on.
So far, what's been intimidating?
It takes me about a third of the time to find the parts and pieces. There's over 8,000 parts here in this basement here.
Right.
And by the way, there's a complete plane in this basement right now. A friend of mine who lives near me has built 3, and he's given me a few tips along the way that can help be more efficient. And an example of that is to build both wings at the same time, as opposed to build one wing and then build the second wing. And the reason for that is when you're pulling the parts, rather than just pulling one screw, you pull 2 screws and,
Right.
left and right and do it that way. Against the wall over there are the 4 spars for the 2 wings.
Right.
And then everything else that makes the wings are in these 2 relatively small boxes.
Yeah.
So, these are all the pre-stamped pieces of the ribs and everything, and then these are some of the brackets and all that make the connection points to the wings. But it's just kind of, I don't know, something about that. It's just amazing to me that
Oh yeah, no, it's very.
these 2 little boxes and those things right there make that giant wing.
Yeah.
And of course you realize that, well, I guess because really most of the wing is
Air.
empty space air,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. How do you keep the parts organized?
Well, they come from the factory very organized already. This is the manual, and I was talking about this is the fuselage manual, and there'll be a wing manual, and there'll be a finish manual, and an engine manual. So you were asking about staying organized. This is kind of the master list of all the parts that I received. And so when I first got the first box and started opening up the fuselage part, which it said to do that, my son and I inventoried all the parts that were in a big box, and we built a parts board over here, and we have a little grid set up here, and so we can see that if we're looking for a washer 1/4 inch, then I would go to F6, and if I haven't already used it, that's that washer right there. The real feature of the plane to me is the engine that you can put in it. It's a Lycoming style engine, so any mechanic can work on it, but it's made by Titan, and it was specifically designed for CubCrafters. So this is a 180 horsepower engine, and it was, I guess, if you were to base it on an engine, it's the size of a Lycoming 320, but they bored and stroked the engine to get the other 20 horsepower out of it. So it's all about the weight, getting the weight out of the plane. What's great about that is at sea level, that'll give you a 2,100 feet per minute climb rate. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
that's just,
This airplane's also got a full 2-axis autopilot in it. Wow. It'll take you right where you want to go without ever touching anything. It's insane. Now, it has no throttle control.
Yeah, you gotta work that out.
So the pilot still has to do something.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have to do much.
Right.
I'm really excited to be giving away $4,000 worth of stuff this month from the sponsors. Please visit flightshops.com for a chance to win.
The trim, it's got electric trim on top of the stick.
Oh, okay.
So that little indicator right there shows you where the trim is.
Right.
So this is the electronic trim here. But what I don't like about the Super Cub is the hand winding fishing window reeler thing. So this is cool. It's just a switch on the stick, and it just spins this screw, which moves that up or
That's
down.
right.
And the airplane just flies beautifully hands off. And it's almost dead center.
Right.
I'm not holding anything, and it's just flying.
Yeah, that's cool. And does it work the same way as in the Super Cub where it moves the entire elevator? It's not a trim
It
tab?
does, yes.
Yeah.
It's got a jack screw on a horizontal stabilizer.
Right.
And it moves the whole horizontal stabilizer up and down just like a Super Cub.
Yeah, cool.
and I also have something that if you want to do something on it, I got something planned out for us to do.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm pretty useless, but we can try.
well, this could be a good test.
Okay, yeah.
Mike invited me to help out with part of the process. If this was being done in a mass production factory, a jig would have been used.
What we're going to do is we're going to look at a quick couple of minutes of video, and you'll kind of see how he's doing that. And then he's going to give us an instruction to do about the last piece of putting this on is we're going to put a brace on the side of the cowling here. When they did the video, that was the first time that they built the boot cowl using the plane as the jig. And see, what we're trying to do is we got this gap here. If we take this clamp off here, we can see that we can make that go away. Mm-hmm. But we got to have something that holds the whole thing. So go ahead and stick her down in there.
Stick it there.
Kind of keep it
nice
yeah.
and taut.
We'll see. We're both doing it for the first time here. Okay. So is it kind of staying?
Seems to be.
We did both sides of the boot cowl.
That just your natural pace of being able to work through stuff, you know.
And I could see how even tiny steps add up to a really satisfying process of watching it come together.
You kind of hold that. Let me grab the tape. This is all about getting things in their close proximity, so that when you start, next thing I'll start doing is drilling these little holes out to put the rivets in.
Right.
So that's, you know, that's one of the little steps along the way of building the boot cow.
I noticed it has a landing light, but you don't fly this thing at night?
The airplane as a light sport airplane is a day VFR only airplane.
Okay.
But if you have a private license and a current medical, you can fly the airplane at night legally if it's an ELSA.
It's so weird. As a Canadian, I don't understand the LSA thing. I don't get it. I guess it's so guys can fly without medicals?
That's exactly why. The whole idea was to try to get more people introduced into flying. Part of the problem is you're flying in a $235,000 airplane. Everybody thought when the light sport rule came along,
They'd be cheap.
that there was going to be a flood of $50,000 and $60,000 airplanes on the market.
Right.
And it never happened.
What I like about experimental is we can get so much more avionics and so much more information in the cockpit for so much less money.
I have to admit that I've been more of a certified aircraft fan, but Mike made a great case for experimentals and LSAs.
It's really hard not to go this route, you know.
So when are you going to have this one done, and when can we fly it?
Obstacle.
It has a terrain database in it and an obstacle database in it. And if it sees anything that it doesn't like, it'll tell you.
Yeah, that's cool. So what's the length of that runway?
2,000.
Okay. You want to talk me through your process? You can do a three-pointer, and what are you aiming to?
So we've got full flaps. With two people in the airplane, I like coming across the fence right at 50.
Is that knots or miles an hour?
Then that's a miles an hour.
Okay.
You see this power line right here in front of us?
I do. Yeah, so you don't want to come in shallow.
You do not want to come in shallow. Once you cross the power line, everything's easy. Tree is right there.
Oh yeah. I guess that's how you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I've been saying a year and a half, but it just depends on how often I'm able to come down there every night and put my 3 hours in. You know?
But I could see myself getting a fairway in and then getting intimidated and frustrated with something. But again, the community, knowing you can engage the community, and I do have a good support system. So it possibly is something I could take on. I feel better about it now than I did a couple hours ago, so that's something. Thanks a lot for
no problem.
showing me your kit.
Sure.
So I'm definitely planning to check back in with Mike when his plane is ready to fly. It's going to be awesome. Thanks again to the supporters on Patreon for helping make these productions possible. And thanks to the sponsors, we've got aviation's greatest monthly contest. Last month, Jerry won all this stuff plus a Bose A20 headset. This month, Scheyden's given us the featured prize, which is the True Aviator Steam Gauge watch. This is ridiculous. The thing's worth $3,000 alone. So I really want to see one of you guys win it, along with all the stuff from the other sponsors. Visit flightshops.com to win, and keep your flight chops sharp.
Well, I'm tickled to death that you took the time to come out here.
Oh man, this is seriously in my top, I don't know, 3 list of airplanes. The problem is, like, I think I want 4 airplanes, right?